the meeting to order. And of course, we're remote, so we're gonna have to do this by roll call, starting with Ed. Okay, we'll start with Brittany.
Here.
Ed?
Here.
Dan?
Here.
And Bruce is also here. So tonight with us is Fiona, Amber, and Kathleen. We have a brief update on the housing production plan. Fiona's been working back and forth with Karen. There's a date that's decided on for June and a flyer that's in the packet for everybody. This will be the first of, I believe, 2 meetings that we need to have during this process. So the first one, we really need to get it out of the way. I know it's the beginning of June, but all the kids should still be in school. So hopefully we don't interfere with anybody's vacation schedule. It's going to be hosted at the Great Hall up on 1 Grafton Common, which is my only nitpick for the flyer. It says Apple Tree Arts, 1 Grafton Common. Really should just say Great Hall, 1 Grafton Common. Has anybody had a chance to review the material? And Fiona, do you want to give a brief update or
regarding the
production plan?
Yep. So I've secured well, Bruce kind of basically summed it up. I've been talking back and forth with Karen, coordinating. I sent some edits for the press release. Amber is going to be sending that off. Started circulating the flyer with the edits, but I can have her. I did a Facebook post, and then I had William post on the general Facebook page without the Great Hall, but I can reach out to him and fix that, Bruce. Then from there, where Karen and I are coordinating about, she has the agenda ready to go. I think I'll just help her with materials, questions, etc. But in terms of securing the space, I've worked there. I did a workshop there not too long ago. I know Brandon there, and he's very helpful. We have tables, secured chairs, technology, backup projector. Life is good. And we all sent. We discussed our last meeting, with the meeting before that with Karen, any edits. I had sent her mine, and I think we're on track. This workshop will be should be fun. I guess let me know if you can't make it, because then we'll have to coordinate who will be the facilitators for the discussion when we break out into like breakout groups. But life is good. We're on track with that. And if anyone has any questions or need anything, just holler.
Right. Would it be beneficial for everybody if we just posted our June meeting at the same night and just did a remote feed? Just we want to record it anyways. Does this sound all right? Okay, good, perfect. And do we want to serve refreshments of some type?
That's a good question.
So they have a full kitchen up there in the Great Hall, so we can do something. We don't have to do too much, but it might be nice to have some type of food and drink.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to bring anybody there, but we should make every effort to try to convince people to show up.
Yeah, we did we had like chips and like water at the last community event, so that's a relatively easy lift, and I can pick that up. When you just Bruce, so I'm clear, the Great Hall is indeed the large kind of ballroom area on the second floor. Okay, all right, perfect. All right, great.
I think that's what it actually says. If you get in the elevators, I believe it says Great Hall.
Right, okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure I definitely got that right.
How does everybody feel about a light menu? Just chips, drinks, something simple. We can put that together as we go. Okay, perfect. Anybody else with any comments or concerns?
So what are we doing for like outreach? Is it like I heard mention of press release, and just wondering what else is going on?
That's a good point.
So press release, social media, planning, web page, or news flash blast that we do, working with William in the TA's office to advertise. We're posting the flyers, well, I'll need to start circulate more hard copies of the flyers around town hall, et cetera. But yeah, I'm open, open to other suggestions as well.
Have a flyer. Would it be beneficial for us to send something via snail mail to individual homes in town?
Yeah, that was a really helpful strategy when we were doing our Mill Street Park community meeting. So I believe we sent out to immediate abutters, then we sent something, and we sent something for the master plan out in utility bills, which was super great. So maybe I'll ask Karen, yeah, if she might be able to create a little we did like a little half flyer that can just easily be slipped in, and then I'll reach out to the treasurer's office, see if we can coordinate that.
It'll have to come from the Pulte funds. I don't think we can use CPA money for this, but the Pulte money we certainly can. So just make sure we expense it properly. When Matt gets back, pending next week, of course, he's the treasurer, so we can make sure that he submits the right invoices.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll handle that as we go. You got something else, Dan?
Yeah, so just I remember I got something in my my property tax bill in the mail about I think the Mill Park, Whitney Park, whatever that one's called. I just want to point out that doesn't go to people who don't pay their own property tax bill directly, like renters. So I think however we're doing this outreach, we should make sure that it's not something that's going to go disproportionately to different types of homes, since this is about housing.
Right.
We should be able to get a master mailer list anyways. So we could send it to every home in the town if we really wanted to. It would cost a few $1,000s, but we only do this once every 5 years. Okay, I'll put some prices together for that anyways.
Yeah, I can try and talk to a couple of folks in town hall and see
Doesn't
what
the
that
town have a stamp too? Don't they have their own?
I think so. Amber, do you know stuff? They probably do.
So as long as we could get labels for everything, we could send it on the town stamp. They must.
Good.
All right, we'll check into that and we'll feed back to everybody. Eric, we're just speaking briefly about the housing production plan. June 7th is the night for it. I was going to shift to item number 3, unless anybody else has anything on the housing production plan for now. Okay. So the purchase and sale for 25 Worcester Street, Kathleen, is that something that you can initiate so we can hurry up and get it moving? You're on mute.
Yes, certainly, because we have the RFP, and then I guess the question is whether in the minutes of, because we had that same, I had the zoning board hearing the same night as you were having that discussion, whether there was any terms and provisions that I would need to know that were discussed the other night, that were over and above what was in the RFP.
I don't think we had anything beyond what was discussed when we went through the actual proposal.
Okay.
Ed, do you recollect anything, any other caveats or anything that we're trying to add? You're on, Ed. You're mute now. Definitely still.
Damn it. I'm sorry. I hate it when people do that. Nope. I don't recall anything.
Okay.
Well, it'll be going out as a draft, and so if there's anything major that I forgot, I'm sure we'll be able to put that in.
Kathleen, would you have time to prepare that by the end of the month so they can get it back and maybe get
Oh,
it
yeah.
to us before June 7th?
Yeah. I'll do it next week.
Okay, and you have all the sufficient contact information for reaching out to their council?
I think so.
Okay,
I think that was all in the RFP.
it is.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Do you need us to vote on that, or is that something that you can just march on?
I just do it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, back to 2. Ed, seeing that we have Kathleen here with us tonight, I know your questions that you had proposed last week that you wanted to get through today. I know you just got back from vacation, but do you want to take the time tonight and kind of work through some of your thoughts on it. And
Yeah, so let me just, I'm on my laptop here and I want to be able to look at the agreement. So I guess the main concern that I have is under section 12, it's termination of the purchase and sale agreement. My understanding, and I guess this is where I get confused, there is recourse that we have if the PNS is terminated. So between the time that the PNS is signed and the time that the closing happens, I don't imagine, and I guess this is where I'm confused, that we would be dispersing any money until the property is transferred. So why the recourse under paragraph 12, where we would have the right to accept assignment of the PNS from GSX together with engineering surveys and inspections? Because we haven't laid out any money at that point, right?
No, that's not true.
Oh, okay.
GSX is looking for cash. I mean, that person from GSX has been standing at the town hall door with a bag looking for money for the last 4 months.
Okay. What's the schedule there? Is it the 200,000?
I believe so.
yeah,
Okay. So that's what our security for $200,000 is the plans and all that.
yeah, we
Okay.
go 50-50 with them through the whole soft cost process. And then we recoup the permit fees that we previously negotiated with the select board, the water district, and the sewer department.
Okay. What's our exposure on soft cost total?
I think they were carrying 4 million in the budget. So
And that leads me to my bigger question is why the resistance to us having a smaller mortgage that's even subordinated to their construction loan on the property?
Well, they won't have a construction. They don't own the property yet. So if you're advancing soft costs, you're not secured by anything. They don't own anything yet.
Can we get a mortgage that they would then subordinate when they went out and actually? No, we can't because they don't own the property.
They don't own it. Yeah.
Shit. So we are unsecured.
Yeah.
well, we have entitlement to the property and assignment of the PNS and the other related materials, which I know don't have a lot of value.
What's the property acquisition price?
Hold on. They are
Yeah, oh, sorry, you don't have it.
paying $650,000. They've paid $25,000 with the RFP, and so they have $625 due at closing.
So I guess the question becomes, if the PNS is assigned to us and we've given over $1.8 million, we're not going to be in a
I don't
position-
think you would be anywhere near giving them $1.8 million. I mean, I think we have talked about how much, we would be, dispersing and when. And normally, I mean, we have as the attached to the exhibits are supposed to be the project budget and the draw request form. I wouldn't be jumping on writing massive amounts of checks out to these folks until, they got, their financing commitment or any, obviously the soft costs are something that trusts always advance. So something in the order of, a couple $100,000. Yeah. But I wouldn't be doing a lot more than that.
See, that's my concern. I don't want us to get out over our skis like I see a lot of people do with, contractors come back to them. A benchmark isn't fulfilled yet people are writing out checks.
Right.
Because the guy says, well, trust me, material costs, blah, blah, blah. I need more money. You don't want to see the project stall, et cetera. So we're just going to be diligent to make sure that these benchmarks are met before writing out checks. That makes me more comfortable. I don't care as much about the plans as I do about the ability to have the PNS assigned to us. If we were to become owners of the project's ours, and we go find somebody else to complete it.
Yeah.
Now that you referenced that, there's got to be able to some some break in the agreement that makes sure that they have financing of some type before we do any expenses beyond what's going to be required for the special permit. Because the special permit is, it's going to be expensive, but relative to how much of a commitment to the soft costs are, it's a smaller piece of it. So, they should be able to get their Concom work done, site survey, engineering, most of their special permit requirements, for fairly short money when compared to the size of the whole project. So as long as we can prevent them from going ahead of the schedule and spending their money on it and expecting us to reimburse them in that 50-50 split, we should be able to,
Yeah. I mean,
Keep
you're
it
gonna
under
even have
control.
your full permit set drawings by the time you're at like 65% of your soft cost for an architectural and engineering fee, because then you have the construction administration fee. So it's not all of your soft costs up front before you get a permit set.
they're
Too.
also, they're not putting peer review until after they get the special permit. They're not doing any of the really heavy expenses. Which-
Well, I don't have a project budget attached to this agreement. Have they submitted
No, it's
one
not attached to
somewhere?
the agreement. We have a schedule in their pro forma that was sent to everybody 6 months ago now.
Oh, okay, I'll look for it. Well, unfortunately, I have to tell you that I did something the other night and managed to trash most of my emails in my box, and so I may not have that. I'll have to look.
Okay.
Looking for a way to do that for a long time. If you figure out how
Yeah,
you
it's
did it,
free.
let
I
me
mean,
know.
it's very freeing. There's like 35,000 emails that are gone.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up is if we're going to be partners with them as far as what this thing looks like, I don't think we should give up a role as having some design impact on it. I know what we want is to get to the 20% or the 25% affordability, so we get all the units and we, can look at a per unit cost for what we're putting in. But you look at the whole project, something we didn't spend a lot of time on before was what we were actually going to do with that barn area. I mean, if you notice how the lot is, there's usable land over there. I think if we're going to take a second bite of the apple here, which I think the opportunity is there too, because they had to renegotiate the P&S, go back and say this is what we want to see done with that barn area, because currently they have no proposals for it. There is a little bit that you can do with it, even if it's just parking. It counts as the reserve, and I know we've talked about that in the past, but making sure that they do it that way, I don't see why we can't ask that now and get it codified.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you be speaking, at, all their permit, applications and all that sort of stuff? I mean, for example, when I was on the planning board in my town and we had 40Bs that were going to the Board of Appeals, the planning board sent a letter, the Concom sent a letter. I don't know why and the Affordable Housing Trust sent letters, commenting on the application and, exercising their ability to take input into the project.
Well, in the beginning of this, during the RFP process, and this is now a couple of years old, they wanted to keep the barn and, turn it into a brew pub or something to that
Yeah.
effect. There was no real decision, and there's nothing in the P&S that says you have to do X, Y, and Z. I think it's probably not a space that I would rather them spend money on developing the affordability aspects of the project than trying to do something with the building that is just a tear down. So if it's going to be just a tear down, you're allowed 20% of your parking to be reserved under the overlay
Yeah.
district. So it's a perfect opportunity to use space, and then you can up your unit count because you can get to that threshold of per unit spaces using that property instead of just letting it out there. And then what's inevitably going to happen is they're going to realize that it's going to cost a lot of money to do anything with it, and they're just not going to do anything with it. And then that ship has sailed 3 years down the road, and everybody wonders why there's a crumbling barn there.
Mhm.
that nobody did anything with. So if we're going back to it, the drawing board, so to speak, that's something that I think we should look at. The rest of it, they're going to be stuck in kind of a box because there's wetlands around that entire peninsula, which is going to restrict where they're going to be able to move stuff to. And if it dips below that 120, unit count, it becomes less attractive for the dollars we're putting in. So if
Yeah.
we can keep the parking where they are, keep this special permit in alignment, and as we've seen, traffic, parking, things like that is something that's, a common theme amongst these public hearings. So as much as we can mitigate that. And the other advantage, of course, is, this is planning board, not ZBA. So it's not a
Yeah.
40B,
Right. Okay.
which is a,
Well, I mean, I think you still can get, comments in and all that sort of stuff before the planning board. I mean,
yeah,
Right.
I think we should be an integral part of this as it's moving forward.
yeah, I think so.
And the other thing that they had sent, and they have not sent the anything beyond what you have in your packet as far as the finances are concerned, but they told me today that they have a term sheet that's floating back and forth. And I said we probably would need to see that before we made any significant progress on the grant. So I would really like to see how interested their financing is, and I really want to see how much it relies on us contributing it. If it's a predominant factor in it, that's kind of a red flag to me. So
Well, I'm going to go back to their council and ask for, the updated project budget, because if it's 3 years old, I mean, that's not going to be doing much for us anyway. I just was trying to find it and I can't, but, so we should be having an updated one anyway.
if we had one when Beacon abandoned the project and they couldn't make something work between them, they sent us a whole new packet with them just doing it on their own again. So that would have
Yeah, but that's still,
6
that's how
months
many
ago.
years old?
No, that one's only 6 months old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll try and see if I can find it, but,
We'll do.
so, because we should have a schedule that says, when they hit certain benchmarks is when they should be coming to us. And that's, I think that's really critical to protect, to make sure that we just don't have all this cash going out the door and they haven't done anything.
Well, the other thing is too, is we have to, the monitoring side of it, once we decide whether or not we want to engage in it, is to make sure that we have somebody who's going to be on the trust for a couple of years as the person who's going to, make sure that there's handoff and, all that business. So those are things that we got to work out internally. I mean, it's much easier now that Amber's here. We have a town planner here and of course
Right.
council as well. But there's nothing to say that the dynamic of the trust isn't going to change substantively or can't change substantively. So we got to make sure that we put those things in place.
Well, as I said, I mean, I think that, you don't really want to be babysitting this a whole lot, but you just want to make sure that the certain easy benchmarks are able to be looked at by staff and by the then trustees.
Yeah.
Before they, I know that said Michelle is her name. She's like desperately looking for cash. I don't even know what it's for.
Yeah, well, I'm going to let you.
Hey, there are other subs on other jobs.
Well, that
Who knows?
certainly. I think if we're going to put some more vigor back into this, Kathleen, I think I would prefer, well, if you would just handle the rest of the negotiation through their council.
Well, I had told her that she had to stop talking to me because she kept sending me emails about stuff. And I said, I'm not really allowed to be talking to somebody who's represented by council.
Yeah.
That's kind of a violation of any number of things.
Well,
So I don't think she wanted to pay, Gemma's legal fees, but that's too bad.
the other thing we should probably get is a true accounting of where they're at now, just to make sure we know
Mhm.
exactly where they're
Yeah.
at on this.
Yeah.
Is everybody
Absolutely.
comfortable re-engaging?
Yeah, I mean, after this conversation, I feel a lot better about it.
Okay. I think we're past, we should have a vote on it. Kathleen, what type of motion would you like that would encompass, what you need to
Well,
get accomplished?
I mean, at this point, I think I think that the grant agreement is fine as it is. What we need to get is the exhibits to it. And so, I think perhaps we would have a, vote that would authorize the, finalization of the grant agreement and, allow council to assemble the exhibits and organize the schedule of draw requests.
That sounds terrific. Anybody want to regurgitate that? A so moved would work for me as well.
So I guess, that we'd move
Kathleen
to,
can
approve the affordable housing grant agreement as drafted as of May 11th, 2023, and authorize council to negotiate the final form and the schedule for disbursements based upon budget supplied by the applicant.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor by roll call, starting with Ed, Eric,
Aye.
Brittany,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
and Bruce is an aye. Okay. Good. So we'll get that started and we'll put that on the June 7th agenda.
You'll have to sign it then.
Well, we'll see if we want to vote on it.
Yeah.
If we get to some crucial point where that, they need us to move ahead, it's 2 weeks away. I can't imagine we'll be done before June anyways at this point.
No, you got May, we got holidays and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, it's May 11th already. Okay, that's all I have for tonight. Like I said, with the housing production plan and any of that business, just if you're gonna make comments on the flyers and things like that, send them directly to Amber, please, and then Amber will disperse them properly, so we're not all talking with each other in reply alls, etc., etc. Does anybody have anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Dan?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, Mr. Prisby,
Yeah.
Brittany,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
and Bruce is an aye. Thank you very much. Fiona, thank you. Amber, thank you. And Kathleen, thank you. I appreciate you coming.
Oh, thanks.
Bill,
Go
thank you as
Celtics.
well.
Go Seas.